Well, I'm here. Oh, fantastic. That took a little while to load up, but here we are. I'm Coach Ariel Anderson, and we're getting a different view today because the lovely gardener next door has cleared away a lot of the old leaves that were so brown and sort of lifeless, and I didn't want them in the shot. So, we're talking today about fertility and age. We're just going to jump right in. Uh, I'm Ariel Anderson, as you know, and I'm looking forward to doing some coaching and some moments because fertility and age is such a tricky topic, right? Uh, just walking down the street or clicking on an article or just reading magazines in a doctor's office. So much information is coming at you, and it tends to be skewed in one direction. So let's talk a little bit about both sides of the coin here. So, first, I'm going to talk about what I know is coming at you because I remember it coming at me, and it still does. Not only about pregnancy and fertility, but just about health in general. It's, at a certain age, and wherever you are in the world, that can be different. At a certain age, you are old or older, or you are really considered a problem. And I know that I have a handful of you out there who I've worked with closely, and I'm so honored for that, who are doctors. And this is nothing against doctors. There are so many different types, and you all come with a different heart. Yet the Western medical system is set up to have to have certain groups looked at as a problem that you need to solve, rather than all the different pieces. Now, you as an individual have an opportunity to, whether if you're the doctor, to echo things out in a different way to keep the balance from different sides. You also have an opportunity as the person who is receiving care to educate. And that will also tell you whether or not you're with the right person in your support system, whether it's a healthcare provider, a partner, uh, on whichever part of the spectrum you may be on, meaning east, west, natural, whatnot. Okay. So that's one piece. The other piece is that age is such a it is really the truth of the matter is, of course, at different ages, there are averages. And mind you, statistics can really be tricky, as we've talked about before, right? That depending on the study and how many people and who were in it, which most of the time when we're seeing stats, we are not seeing that. And we're talking about averages. So, of course, on average, there are a lot of things that we have to be careful of in life at any age. Yes, I'm not going to mess around and say, oh, if you're older, if you're over 27 and your eggs are changing, that you have the exact same results as some other person who's 22 or 18. That said, I know 18-year-olds who have fertility issues. I know 45-year-olds who don't have fertility issues. So you have to be really careful in knowing whether or not you can't 100% know that you're in this category or that. And even when with one partner, you've had a lot of difficulty because of fertility and age, it's not because of that necessarily. It can be fertility and age and that partner versus another partner. So now, if you're with a different partner, know that it may not be the same. It can be different things going on in your life at different times that also can very much affect. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. Always appreciate that. Liking things helps people find the video and maybe it can be helpful. So appreciate that. Uh, it's very essential to know that each day, each week, each era that you're in, each phase, each season, as you may hear a lot these days, is different from the last. And whoever's in your circle, in your support system, what's been happening inside of your own life, that makes a difference. Of course, you know what stresses you have, what relaxation, what job, what friends. It's not just the partner. and it's certainly not your age. Now, of course, there can be issues at any time, and you have to be aware of that. You have to be prepared when you're on a journey of health, if you're on a journey to fertility, that anything can happen. This is, I talk about my skydiving years. I can talk about when I was younger and I used to climb everything. There is always a risk when you are moving in a different direction. And I don't know your history. I don't know, a doctor can look at your history, and often they're just looking at your age because maybe they've had experiences, because the people that they see are often the ones that have the problems. That's something to consider. It isn't necessarily that they're meeting the people who aren't having issues as often, because maybe they see them later on, maybe they see less of them. Maybe those people aren't going to Western medicine doctors, they're going to acupuncture and other things, and they don't see them till later. And yes, there can be issues, and it's about weighing out what feels okay for you. I knew going into it, I had issues with my cervix in my 20s. I had, I had cancer cells, right? And I went the natural route, and I'm good. Doctors didn't even believe me at one point in certain countries because they were like, "What? That's not possible." But it wasn't being done much at that time to do things naturally. I've had Lyme disease. I have fibroids. I knew that there were issues. And I also was very determined that I was going to have a healthy pregnancy. I decided that. And I didn't decide it just because, oh, I'm just in denial and I'm a crazy person. No, I looked at the facts. The mind part of me needed some facts. The heart part of me knew, well, my intention is in the right place, and I trusted my own inner knowledge. And I think that's one of the things when we're here that I come back to. I'm wondering if you're here, since we've got a handful of you here. How is your connection with your inner knowledge? How do you feel? Do you feel like, do you often get a feeling about something, whether it's, we have different areas in our lives, right? As you're thinking about this, and considering whether or not you want to answer this, maybe it feels too personal, but there are different areas of your life where I imagine it's easier for you to tune in with that inner knowledge, that intuition. I'd have you think for just a moment what that area might be. Like, I'm able to manifest things around work and places to live when I'm really clear. That's the tricky part, right? That clarity. But when I'm really clear, then boom, 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 it happens. If I think, oh, I'd like to speak on stage, and suddenly I'm getting a call out of nowhere to speak on stage, or, oh, I'd like to do a retreat, then something pops up, and then I'm asked to do that. There are things that pop up. For work, it's much easier. I remember it was so much harder for me to manifest with love because it was emotional. And I remember also having trouble because I in the back of my mind, even though I was sure, there was still this part of me like, am I too old? Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm wrong. There was a moment where I started to doubt. And when I doubted that inner knowledge, then things did shift, not in the direction that I wanted them to. It wasn't until I came back to my clarity, which was practicing little things. If you've been here, if you've been in our Tuesday group, which we have coming up, by the way, next week, then, we go into that, listening to yourself, listening to your body. How is that for you? I'm curious. Do you have the experience of what it's like when you have a feeling about something and you follow it, and then, oh, wow, that worked the way I thought it was going to? Or the times when you haven't, and how that feels? The contraction, or the, oh, I knew that. Why didn't I say it? Or why didn't I speak up? Does that sound familiar at all to you? I'm so curious. I imagine seeing your faces right now on the other side here. Oh, and they're gone. That's all good. I'm happy that you're here for that moment, and that's okay. Maybe you'll answer in the comments if how that connection is for you and how you connect in with that. So, why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing this up because if we're talking about fertility and age, we have to look at where you connect in with your health. You connect in with your health on the levels of knowing yourself beyond the statistics, beyond what somebody says to you. This is important. That's why I bring it up. That's why that's the topic right now. The age and fertility piece um, is all about what you believe. I never felt old. I don't feel old. I remember my great aunt in New York, and she said to me, I feel the same as when I was 19. I have more information and experiences, but I don't feel like I'm old. And she was, she had 2 canes to put out the garbage, and she lived out on her own in White Plains. And then I had another one who lived to 101, and she also was so spirited. Her body was doing things, falling apart, but she felt vital. And I think that vitality allowed her to do so much in life because she didn't let people tell her what she could and couldn't do. She was 101 going to Carnegie Hall at 100. She didn't think I'm old, or she wouldn't have gotten on the bus to go there. She wouldn't have taken a taxi. She wouldn't have done a lot of the things. So it's really about our state of mind. Our state of mind determines how old. It's not a chronological age. The body may have certain experiences. And I told the pieces about my body issues because I want you to understand that age and your mentality around your age and what's possible for your fertility is not about being perfect. It is not about being super thin and super fit and going for a run every day. It's not about any of that. It's about a general feeling of health. I feel good in my body. I feel like this is something right for me. That piece is pretty important, and if you've watched some of my older videos, I've got the meditation about believe to conceive, and there's another one before that that is just where we're talking like we are now. Maybe look at that if that's interesting for you and just come back to yourself. In fact, let's take a breath here. I like to take my breath, inhaling all the knowledge and the clarity that you need, and in your own time, exhaling out what's not yours and letting it ground back into the earth. Inhaling in again, all that's yours, meaning what you believe, what feels right, and exhaling out other people's ideas. And take a last breath in and out. And just feeling your body for a moment and what feels true for you. Fertility and age is very much about perception. Miracles happen all the time. And I use the word miracle because that's what it feels like sometimes. It feels like a miracle to be alive, to be able to be fertile, to be able to give birth at all. Maybe you have to do it in a complicated or a simple way. Maybe someone or something is assisting you. Maybe it really just starts with what you believe. What you believe and what you feel and what you trust in your body is incredibly powerful. And I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any questions about this or comments, I'm here for it. And I'm here for anything, not just the topic of fertility and age, but just being on this path. I want you to know it's a powerful one, and there's going to continually be dips. The wave of fertility and the journey, and just being a person, a woman on this planet is incredibly powerful. It's strong, it's painful at times, and it's okay. This last week or two, I went into a deeply silent place. If you've been here, the technology was not working. My phone crashed, and I decided to leave it. So now I'm on the computer. It feels very different to be here in this way. But I wanted to be here. I felt strongly about it. But for a while, I needed to go into the pause. and it was strong, and it still is strong. I'm still looking at what it all means to suddenly not be on social media, but to be here with you. I found a way. I'm pausing, I'm talking now because I want to give you space if you want to write something, anything. Just know that you're not alone on the path. Every time we're here on Fridays, we're gathering together around the world, and just connecting is energizing your path as your own. And I know there are going to be moments that's not feeling clear, maybe a lot, and it's going to feel dark. But if you still feel sure inside of that, keep showing up for it, for yourself, whether you're here or not, whether you come to the Tuesday private group or not, whether you go down in the description and grab free things, or you just want to be here. That's okay. I'm just opening the doors of opportunity. The rest is you. It's your body, it's the spirit, it's the baby spirit or spirits that are around. I don't know. There are things that we can't know about that are in motion. Start with that. Start with being okay with what you don't know. I take my own advice and I breathe that in right now. The unknown. There's something swirling for us, and I'm curious what it is. I don't even know. There's something. Something is on the horizon. And maybe for you, it's baby and babies. For me and you, it's something. And I'm curious, and I'm good with being curious. Starting with the curiosity, being curious about what shows up, being curious about your your fertility and age and what that really means to you, educating your doctor about that. Oh, that reminds me, I do need to set a date for my dad and I, my who's holistic doctor, and I meeting up with you. And I'm going to do that because I did promise. I'm not going to forget, but it will be November. And I promise by the next time I will have a clear view of when that is. Meanwhile, you know I'm here for you. You can write me at ariel@imperfectparenting.net. I still have access to that email. Yay. And and I'm here shedding light. I've been there in your shoes multiple times, multiple losses, multiple pregnancies, and one that, is a smashing success. And I believe in what's possible for you. All right, I'm going to leave you now. If you have any questions that come later, just throw them in the comments. And this video will be up hopefully shortly. I have a meeting that I'm jumping into. So if it doesn't work right away, then just check in the next couple of hours and I will see you. Remember, you're so much more than you even know. And I see you. Bye. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. Bye.